Good afternoon. One of the things was Jay mentioned was just the way the blitz was disruptive to you guys. Going back and looking on that, maybe what are some of the things you take away? And it's a copycat league, so obviously whatever worked against you is going to happen next week. What do you do to make sure you're ready for that next week?
Yeah, each play was its own entity, and each play had a different reason why it worked or didn't work. But I thought we moved the ball well at times, and a couple of drives stalled because of penalties. Other drives stalled for different reasons. But we always go back and watch the tape and are critical of ourselves and say on each individual play, what needed to happen for us to have a better result. And we'll be much sharper, in our preparation now, and try to get a better result on Sunday.
We love to ask you about the deep shots, probably because you've got Deshaun Jackson there. Going back and looking, were there times you felt you could have got him? Was the defense shutting him down? I know he was a little frustrated not getting those options. What were you seeing as far as being able to connect with him?
Yeah, we took a shot early on third down, and I think the throw was just a little long. Threw it up, and he was running underneath it, and the ball was just a little bit out of his grasp. So that was a chance where we did take a shot. We just didn't connect. Later in the game, did the same thing and hit it, and then we did one as well to Pierre down the sideline, and it was a little long as well. So we definitely like to take those shots when we get them, and we have a favorable matchup. And I think our receivers, not just Deshaun, but our receivers in general, have proven that they do a great job in winning down the field on those routes.
On Sunday, you had the moment with Rich, we'll call it, of the positivity and how much you wanted to be positive going into this week despite the loss and how tough it was. When you guys got back together today, what was the mood at meetings, walkthrough, et cetera?
Yeah, it would be what you'd expect. There's a balance of frustration over what happened on Monday night and a bit of a sour taste in our mouths. And then there's also understanding that in the NFL it's next week and you get your focus on what's up ahead. And, we've been here before off a tough loss, just regrouping and now saying we got a job to do and a lot of games that are still important to go win.
Circling back to one play specifically, it's, I guess, a medium deep shot. It was 2 plays before the Garcon offensive pass interference. You wound up checking down to Deshaun. It looked like Jamison had an inside seam, and you looked at him and then turned it down and checked down. What did you see there, and do you think that you may have had Jamison in hindsight?
Yeah, in hindsight, would have been great to give Jamison a shot there. I looked and I couldn't find him, and rather than hang on it, I decided to progress to Deshaun. But definitely in hindsight, you'd like to, put your eyes there. If you can't find him, in hindsight, hang on a little longer, see if he shows, which if he had, the ball definitely would have gone to him, and in hindsight should have gone to him.
Is that, as of right now, we're 4 days out, but forecast in Chicago is calling for pretty steady rain most of the afternoon, a little bit of wind, not a lot. Is that something that you guys are thinking about, something you're gonna try to prepare for going in for the elements?
Yeah, conditions are always a factor and something you pay attention to and prepare for. So we will prepare for, if there is a strong possibility of rain, which it sounds like there is, we'll prepare for that.
Going back to you had a lot of second and longs early in the game because of those penalties, the offensive pass interference, the pick call. Jay wasn't thrilled with those. I'm sure nobody on the team was. Going back and looking, was it anything schematic you guys need to change, and how do you avoid getting in those situations?
I don't think so on the specific one from that game where Pierre ran his route. It just seemed like he's trying to get to his spot, and the guy's playing bump coverage, and it's football, and if it gets called, it gets called. I don't think there's much to change on that specific one.
When you're having some frustration the first 3 quarters or so on Monday night and drives aren't really going the way you want other than a couple field goals, what do you say to the team, if anything, or does anybody say anything throughout the whole game to make sure you guys stay focused and do what you guys did in the fourth quarter late?
Yeah, I felt like we moved the ball. We got down in a field goal range several. I think we had a chance at four field goals, and a couple other times we were across the 50 and didn't get in a field goal range and had to punt, but we were right there. So felt like we moved the ball, got down into plus territory. But again, when you have 1st and 10 on the 25-ish yard line twice, and then a penalty puts you back, and when you add the gain on the play, sometimes those penalties were 20, 25-yard penalties because of the result of the play that is now wiped away on top of the yards that are added. So those penalties really put you in a tough spot, and it's not so much play calling or scheme or executing plays. It's just, hey, the penalty. I mean, it's hard to win when you have those kinds of things stacking up.
But do you say anything about the penalties? Do you address that? Or?
Yeah, we talk about playing with more discipline and making sure we're attentive to our role and our responsibility, so that everybody's executing the plays, and if you do that, then better results. But yeah, we addressed that, but again, I felt like we were moving the ball well, and so good things were happening too at times.
You guys haven't won on the road yet, and we've probably beaten that horse to death a little bit. But with 3 of the last 4 on the road, do you go back and revisit the things you do, the routines? Any special emphasis or special changes this week because of that?
I think we definitely need to win on the road, and we have experience playing on the road, and it's always a challenge, but we have confidence in our teams and our offense's ability to go out there and have success. And we had halftime leads in 2 of the games that we ended up losing on the road, and so we just got to come out, play our brand of football, play as mistake-free as we possibly can, and if you do that, you give yourself a great chance.
Kirk, how, without Derek Carrier being able to play against Dallas and most of the New York game, how difficult was it to lose at least the perception that when he was in, you guys could run or pass, as opposed to when Ty and Tom were both in, that it was pretty obvious that you guys would be running there?
Yeah, it's never easy when you have injuries. Definitely is some adversity thrown your way, and we've had our fair share this year. And I think it's part of playing in the NFL, though. You realize, after now I'm going on 4 years, you realize by the end of the season, usually you lose some key players along the way, and you have to do your best with what you have. And so, is it a little less, is it a little more challenging? Sure, but we feel like we can always, come up with a plan and have an answer to whatever comes our way. And we hope to get Derek back as soon as possible, and when we do, I think he'll really be able to help our offense.
I guess to follow up on that, did you feel like Dallas was able to key in on that at all, that that you guys would be running in those situations almost every time?
I don't know. I think that you certainly can formulate some educated guesses about what Ty or Tom are going to contribute or not contribute, but you can still throw the ball out of those formations or those personnel groupings. There's no reason you can't. So they've still got to play it honest and handle their gaps and play their responsibilities. And we still have a job to do too.
So you have some success out of that bootleg look, especially with the play action added, and that hasn't been a new thing. What is it that makes that such a successful play for you guys in the offense and such a good look?
It's a combination of factors. When you run the ball and commit to running the ball, teams have to stop that. And so when you do anything that looks like a run and then you pass off of it, it's going to keep teams guessing. I think defenses have responsibilities, and you kind of put them in a bind when you run a play like that, and make them have to honor the run while also having to honor that bootleg. And there are times when a defense will play it really well, and then it's not the best play to run, and you've got to get away from it. So those plays are week to week, game to game, quarter to quarter, depending on how guys are playing it. You've got to be able to adapt and adjust as in anything.
Kirk, when a receiver is demonstrably frustrated in a game, wanting the ball and flapping his arms, do you notice that as a quarterback? And if so, how do you handle it? Do you have a few words, talk about it, or just motor on with your job?
No, I really appreciate the input that I get back from the guys, and if they're not telling me on the sidelines after a series, I'm usually asking, were you open there? Or I heard you were open there. I looked at the picture and you were open and should have gotten you the football. And these guys aren't, they're professionals. They know when they should be getting the ball. They know when it probably isn't coming their way. A lot of times they know my reads, and there's no doubt that I value their opinion, and they've done a really good job of giving me input about when to get them the football. And like I've said, they've made me right many, many times, and I'm going to need them to continue to get open and make plays for us here down the stretch.
Kirk, looking ahead to Chicago, kind of a similar team to what you guys went through. Tough year last year, bounced back with more wins this season. What do you see from them defensively? What are their strengths, and what have you seen on film?
Yeah, I think they have a very, very good D coordinator. They're very well coached, very sound. I see them play with really good effort. And I think, you know, that's first and foremost. If you got a sound scheme with smart players who play with great effort, you know, I have a lot of respect for them. And then they've got players. I mean, they've got guys. You know, one of them who was here last year, Tracy Porter, is an outstanding player. Jarvis Jenkins, we know as well. So they have good football players, and you know, it's going to be another NFL matchup with a great defense and a great challenge for us. Thanks, Kirk. All right.